Hello, and welcome to the very first episode of the Paranormal Storytime podcast. This is very exciting. This is something I've been thinking of doing for a long time, and if you haven't seen any of our social media, the concept is that on each series we'll talk about haunted places that either myself or both of us have visited. We will cover the history of the place, a paranormal story, as well as our take on the visit. This first episode will be on the Ye Olde Bell Hotel and Spa, located near the historic market town of Retford. But before we jump in, why have we decided to start a paranormal podcast? Well, I had the joy of having, let's say, a quirky grandma. She was Northumbrian, born and bred, and very proud of it. And as a young girl, I was often took round old graveyards to look at headstones to do the family tree. I think even if Ancestry.com was a thing back then, I don't think my grandma would have been a fan. The peacefulness and the beauty of the old graveyards, these beautiful British churches, even though myself, not so religious, did stick with me. And I still find it relaxing to go for a walk among the graves where nobody bothers you and it's just peaceful and quiet. Though a dog walker did once scare me by sneaking up behind me. As we spent most of our childhood holidays in Northumberland, we got to look round old castles, so thinking Alnwick Castle, Wartworth. So I got a bit of a for old buildings, history, the folklore surrounding them. That's pretty much been a lifelong thing. Of course, this also lends itself to the paranormal. You can't spend most of your childhood walking around old buildings and graveyards without getting a bit hooked. Podcast is just a way of sharing all that, finding like-minded individuals and maybe exploring a bit too. So back to today's topic. The Olde Bell is currently an upmarket hotel and spa, rated 4.3 out of 5 on TripAdvisor at the time of recording, which is well deserved from my experiences there. On their website, they describe the hotel as artfully combining striking contemporary interiors, luxurious modern comforts, with all the history and character you'd expect from the remarkable building, to offer a calming retreat from the stresses of daily life. That might help you build a picture of the kind of place we're talking about. If not, have a look on our social media for some recent pictures. Talking dramatic staircases, old paintings, impeccably decorated. The hotel has seen many reincarnations over the years, so hold on tight for a whistle-stop tour. The building originated as a farm in the 17th century. If, like me, you needed to double-check that timeline, it means that the farm would have been present somewhere around 1601 onwards. 1635, due to its advantageous location on the Great North Road, midway between London and Edinburgh, it had become a popular stopping place for travellers. As of 1835, the hotel could boast a visit from Queen Victoria and her mother, the Duchess of Kent. As any sensible business would, this room was renamed the Victoria Suite. Now, I never thought I'd have an interesting comment with Queen Victoria, but was interested to find out that the reason she stayed at the hotel was she was on the way to a music festival, probably a little bit different from the ones that I go to, but still. After 1842, the hotel returned to a private home, with a chapel being added due to the lack of church in the village. What I feel was unusual for rural England. There are beautiful churches scattered all over the landscape, although some are now private residences, which would be an absolute dream. This is an example of how the hotel is sympathetic to its past, as the centre aisle of the chapel is now a corridor to some rooms. In 1905, the home was resurrected into a hotel for quite a short-lived period, as its liquor licence was refused twice due to the competition of the White Horse pub, which still stands just round the corner. I can confirm the spirits, see what I did there, have returned to the hotel in its current era. The next reincarnation was as an inspection pit for cars, with an official appointment by the Royal Automobile Association. But this was not to last, as this ended in 1917 during the First World War. This could well be due to the restrictions on petrol. Of course, there was also the factor that many men went away to fight in the war. Now, I found conflicting information on how common women driving was at this time. The consensus appears to be that there was no legal prevention, but that it was unusual and somewhat frowned upon for women to drive pre-World War II. There was attitudes such as women being bad drivers, not being safe. I'm just not going to comment on that any further. However, if you're someone with more knowledge on this subject, feel free to get in touch and correct me if that's not the case. So both of these factors could be something which affected the business. In 1932, the film The Good Companions, starring Heather Thatcher, used the hotel to shoot scenes. You can find some clips on YouTube if you'd like to add some visuals. The 1st Cavalry Division used the hotel as their headquarters briefly in 1939, and Queen Maud of Denmark kept rooms at the hotel in the 1950s. However, the hotel's fortune took a turn for the worse in 1953 due to a large fire. This destroyed 2 wings containing 30 bedrooms. This was during St. Leger Week, a still very famous event at the nearby Doncaster racecourse. As racegoers returned to find their accommodation burnt, luckily the local community, including Lady Galway of Selby Hall, provided support, food and a roof over their heads for stranded racegoers. The next year the hotel was bought by Mr. Hans Nielsen, someone I'm told is still fondly remembered. He worked hard to bring the hotel back to life. It appears he was a savvy businessman. Under his ownership he bought the ceiling of Wisden Hall when it demolished. He paid just over £4. Why? Why buy a ceiling? Well, it was elaborately decorated, and he built an entire suite around this preserved bit of history. He also used the oak panelling from Bradgate House, another famously haunted location, for another suite when that house was demolished. Resourceful, if you ask me. Not only is he getting a bit of history, people that loved those properties, admired those properties, might well come and visit Ye Olde Bell just to see them, so more customers. In 2022, the current owners took over. They've renovated the property, but with sympathy to its history, and in 2017 opened a multi-million-pound spa with indoor and outdoor swimming pools, steam rooms, saunas, its own restaurant. They offer afternoon tea, they do parties and lavish weddings. I can say the spa is really nice. I'm not even sponsored. Now, for what we are all here for, the reports of paranormal activity. I reached out to the hotel to see if they would like to share any stories for this episode, but unfortunately did not receive a reply, which is fair enough, so I am relying on my own research for this section. The first phantom I'm going to tell you about may seem familiar, because Ye Olde Bell hosts its very own Grey Lady. There have been many reports of Grey Lady apparitions, and they're often thought to be linked to a tragedy and women who were more of noble birth. This particular spirit is a bit of an enigma. There's not much known about her other than her appearance has been recorded for several decades. Like many reports of similar spirits, she wanders the property. I couldn't find any records of her interacting with anyone, so maybe, taking into the beliefs linked to Grey Ladies, she's more of a memory, retracing her steps following a traumatic event which was significant enough for her to be recorded into the matter of the building. Sounds familiar? I'm referring to stone tape theory, something you've definitely heard of if you're a fan of Uncanny. I found a post from the Reluctant Ghost Hunter. They described an interaction with a staff member who had experienced the Grey Lady while she was following her path. She believes that the spirit is Lady Jane Grey. Those of you knowledgeable in history may spot an interesting chronological point here. Lady Jane Grey, who spent 9 days on the throne, was beheaded along with her husband in 1554 after pleading guilty to high treason. The hotel's history began in the 17th century. Mr. Nielsen provided the link between Lady Grey and the hotel. His reuse of the panelling from Bradgate House, which is also the prior home of Lady Jane Grey, spent much time here during her childhood and apparently studied multiple languages and was a very gifted child. If we believe objects have memory, it may be possible that when the house was demolished and the panelling moved, maybe her spirit came too. If we take this as possible and also use stone tape theory, and if we accept that the Grey Lady is indeed the Lady Jane Grey, it is possible she's actually following a well-worn route through Bradgate House, and the structure of the hotel is irrelevant to her path. Of course, without multiple recorded sightings, this would be hard to investigate, so a theory it remains. Worth noting that the site of Bradgate House is also said to be haunted by Lady Grey, but there are several famous spirits that are said to haunt multiple places. If this is a residual haunting, why can't there be multiple recordings of the same person? Lady Grey appears to be the hotel's most reported presence, but perhaps not the only one, as there is a suggestion that following a visit by Lord Nelson, a naval officer's spirit remains and can be seen in the mirror which is hung in the Trafalgar suite. I'm not scared by much, but the popular horror movie trope of looking into a mirror while casually brushing your teeth and seeing a presence is one that does give me the creeps. However, I'd still love to investigate, if I might be a tiny bit scared. The hotel is also said to be home to a man in cavalier dress, thought to be from the 17th century, dressed extravagantly in an elaborate coat, boots and a plumed hat. As if this doesn't make him stand out enough, he sometimes also appears with a sword. There are several theories of why he may be present. Dressing in cavalier attire was a political statement, marking one as a royalist. It's possible he was killed by parliamentary forces. He may possibly have been the victim of a crime, as highwaymen who specialised in robbing travellers for their valuables were prevalent at this time, and the hotel's position on the Great North Road could well have made it a popular spot for these criminals. Or he could have died due to being wounded in battle. However he ended up at the hotel, he is said to be the spirit which interacts most with his environment. He does not appear to have time to speak to the living, vanishing if guests or staff approach while he walks with purpose. He's said to move objects, create cold spots in rooms, walk through doors that are no longer present, and leave the smell of leather and tobacco in his wake. I saw this described as mild poltergeist activity on one website, and I love that. So if you go to the hotel, don't worry, the very worst you're going to get is mild poltergeist activity. But still, that's not all this property has to offer. There have also been reports that during the hush of night, echoes of the property's past can be heard. Horses' feet in the courtyard, the sound of coach wheels and their drivers. It's said that within the bars, conversation can be heard when they're empty, that glasses move of their own accord, and staff have witnessed figures moving out of the corner of their eye and having a feeling of being watched. I worked here very briefly, and unfortunately, I didn't witness that. But if anybody else has, please get in touch. So that's the haunting. If you've heard anyone other than me speak at this point, we may well have caught an EVP. But at this point in the podcast, I introduce you to my partner in podcasting, the Yorkshireman. Say hello.
Hello. Hey up. How are you doing?
Thank you very much. Okay, so we've been to a lot of haunted places together. I describe myself as a skeptical believer. I like evidence of hauntings and I'm happy to debunk anything that I can. However, I also love watching paranormal programs. Well, you don't.
Oh god, no.
So my intention is to keep my views neutral, but I'm not responsible for what comes out of your mouth. That's on you. With that said, can you please inform people how you view the paranormal?
I'm a believer but also sceptical, but probably a bit more sceptical than you.
Yeah, you think certain things are fake that I won't say because I'm staying neutral. So, I've spent a lot of time in this beautiful property. You've only been once. I've not had a chance to do a formal investigation in neither of you.
No, not yet.
But you never know, if the podcast takes off, we might get the chance. I find it a really warm and welcoming atmosphere. I've previously felt a little bit creeped out in the toilets on my own. I've not been fortunate or maybe unfortunate enough to have any personal paranormal experiences, but with its vast history and many uses, I can see how it could pick up a haunting or two. What do you think from your one solitary visit there?
I see what you mean, especially with the panelling from the other buildings and whatnot.
Do you agree that the possibility is that the haunting could have come with that panelling, or do you think I'm completely loopy?
Yes, I do believe.
Okay, that was a long pause. You were thinking about that.
Maybe.
When you were there, how did you find the atmosphere?
It was relaxed, from what I remember.
Yeah?
Yeah, relaxed. Chilled.
So, like me, would you say it's quite a warm and welcoming place?
Yes, I shall go with that.
What did you think of the decor?
Definitely oldie worldy.
Yeah.
This is the best way I can fit, especially with the old timber battens outside for the patio roof.
Do you agree with me that I feel they've been quite sympathetic to its history?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I reckon so.
While we're on a first episode, I'll also ask you a few quick questions about what you want to do in future with the podcast. Is there anywhere that you would love to go and investigate?
Well, that bar that I used to work at years ago. I was working one day, mate and a few regulars were sat at a bar, and we heard some footsteps, and me and my mate both looked and there was no one there, and the footsteps were heading up the stairs to where the bogs were. It has been renovated for years, but underneath it there was like old tunnels which linked. I even worked in a restaurant a few doors up, helped out lad there. I went down into the cellar one day and there was like stone sinks and stuff. So I'm not sure what it was for, possibly. Maybe cattle or something.
Did you go and investigate the footsteps?
No, I just vanished, and both me and my mate were talking about it, and we still talk about it now.
So, out of all the places that we have been to so far, which place do you think would make a good episode for the podcast?
Banshee's Labyrinth in Edinburgh.
Oh, I loved that place. We didn't investigate. Maybe we need to go back.
I'm up for a trip to Edinburgh.
Sounds like a plan. Definitely.
Even the vaults, to be fair.
Oh, the vaults is our next episode. I've not even told you that yet, have I?
No, you haven't. And then, like the St Mary's Close where we didn't go in.
Oh, yeah. I think that would be quite similar to the Edinburgh Vaults, but we can definitely have a look.
And the Witch Museum.
Oh, the Witch Museum was good. Okay, so now we've just evolved into talking about our holiday in Edinburgh, which was brilliant because we got to go and look at loads of spooky places. So, we'll leave that there for today. In each of the episodes coming up, my lovely partner here with his wonderful Yorkshire accent
Sup?
will be helping me out with the section just before the outro, talking about where we've been and what we liked about it, and whether or not it's haunted. So, conclusion. Do you think Ye Olde Bell Hotel and Spa, near the beautiful market town of Retford, do you think it may be haunted?
I'm going to say inconclusive at this point in time.
You heard that. Let us in. We'll come and investigate. We'll let you know. Thank you so much for listening to this first ever episode of the Paranormal Storytime podcast. I've loved making it and I look forward to releasing more episodes. I have to, of course, ask that if you feel the same way, please can you spread the word to others who may enjoy these episodes. We're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and we're currently setting up a Patreon. Everything will be free on there for now. You can also reach out to us via email. Our email is paranormalstorytimepod@gmail.com. We really want to hear about your experiences and maybe even feature them in new episodes in the future. Be friendly, we don't bite. We're also happy to take on constructive feedback. This is the first podcast I have ever recorded in my entire life. So if you have any tips or any ideas, we are open to them. Please come and chat to us on any of the social media. Let us know your experiences, your favourite place you've investigated. Have you got somewhere we can come and investigate? That would be amazing. We'd love to meet you. I'll also be including all my references in the comments so you can go and have a look yourself. Until our next episode, sleep tight, don't get scared, don't let the bedbugs bite. Thank you so much. Bye!